Forget you saw that. Today we have a SCP 6430. Velocity? Something velocity. I don't know. You can help me read this real quick. I don't know. Something velocity. You know? It's that velocity. Let's jump in. Veracity? Verbosity. I'm so dumb.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Miller, and the SCP we're going to be looking at today
Keter,
is SCP-6430 Spiral. Object Class: Keter. Special Containment Procedures. Containment compromised. SCP-6430 cannot be contained through any conventional means. If encountering an individual under the primary effect of SCP-6430, one must flee.
Straight to the point, bro. If you see anyone in this predicament, run. Do not save them. Every man for himself. Oh, you know you're fudged up. You know you're not gonna make it. Oh my goodness, no, that's bad. That's worse than the other one. The other one is just, I don't know. It's just stories that, and they could ruin the world, or they could just inconvenience. But this one is just straight up hell. What?
One should not engage in any form of communication with those affected, as doing so is liable to spread SCP-6430 further. Due to its effects, containment of SCP-6430 is to be orchestrated by personnel of the Final Department. This is to include any revisions to documentation for legibility purposes, as well as personnel handling and termination. Description: the anomaly in question is a self-aware metaphysical construct thought to intersect to some degree with the noosphere, the collective realm of human thought, which constitutes both an informational and memetic hazard. Whenever SCP-6430 is written about, discussed, or otherwise referenced meaningfully, the individual or media mentioning it becomes subject to its direct effects. SCP-6430 causes an irreversible state of ever-expanding expressions, articulations, dialogues, dictations, observations, and annotations in the communications of those under its effects. This is Stage 1. It can be readily noted that such communications are modeled precisely according to a Fibonacci sequence. Though those under its effect may opt not to speak, the slightest utterance, such as a cough, has been found to be enough to begin an uncontrollable spout of verbiage that ends only once the amount of words communicated reaches the next number in that individual's sequence. During the initial outbreak which led to its discovery within a Foundation site, it was thought that verbalizing would lead to unconsciousness or death of the affected past 14 to 15 iterations of the sequence owing to dehydration. This was found not to be the case, as it was discovered that Stage 2 begins sometime between iteration 10 and 12, characterized by the esophagus beginning to internally twist and moisten. The physiological change has been noted as being incredibly painful by those who actively dictated their experience. The change only serves to promote lengthier diatribes, not inhibit them in any way, shape, or form. Further, there is a distinct dimorphism in those using the written word to communicate. The fingers of each hand, if working ambidextrously, or their dominant hand, if using a single hand, will experience a softening of bone or twisting digits. If one attempts to communicate with someone affected by SCP-6430, and at any point using a single word, phrase, or statement, they too will come under its effect. This has allowed SCP-6430 to spread unchecked through the memetic and infohazard research laboratory of our site, including personnel with high cognitive resistance value ratings and 12 specialists from the Department of Miscommunications, the latter of whom were able to deduce SCP-6430's general effects and triggers, leading to a rapid quarantine under blackout protocol. Though 27 researchers have been affected thus far during attempts to discuss and discern the nature of SCP-6430, the advancement of several personnel sequences beyond a 20th iteration has allowed us to observe Stage 3, which is characterized by a steady reduction of coherency, as may be the case with non-anomalous logorrhea, coupled with further physical alterations that serve to elongate the esophagus, tongue, diaphragm, and other internals alongside the fingers and hands into a spiraling corkscrew shape. It should be noted that, again, this does not tend to inhibit further communication, but instead facilitates it, allowing for sufferers to continue expressing SCP-6430's effects to the detriment of everything else. They will only continue to further twist and tighten until the entire body has become affected, with full body conversion being accompanied by outbursts of rapid glossolalia. This in turn further fuels the conversion process even further, with most personnel beyond saving. SCP-6430 is able to affect and spread to targets who attempt to make negative statements designed to circumvent the topic of the entity specifically, as well as methods to discuss it indirectly through the use of methods such as implication, allusion, insinuation, and parable, through which it was able to spread to most miscommunications personnel on site. During attempts to terminate the affected, it was noticed that euthanization attempts past Stage 2 are ineffective. Destroying the brain of an individual at this point, I've seen it happen myself, will only cause the body to exposit uncontrollably, rapidly bringing it to the next stage of development, winding them up like springs with lolling tongues and grasping fingers. As such, the current model of handling SCP-6430 is to self-isolate and await assistance. Leading to the creation of this file, I've managed to avoid catching SCP-6430, so I have elected to document the anomaly. Troublesome as it is quickly becoming, I am being pushed about as I type due to digital elongation. The longer each finger becomes, as they uncontrollably hover above the keyboard, the more I must reorient my body. Alas, I have to rein this tangent in. In the operating theater beneath my position is Patient Zero, researcher Alec Mayer, who has progressed to an unknown point in the sequence, though the last official record placed them at iteration 39, rendered unrecognizable and illegible, no thicker than twine. They corkscrew every which way, bellowing non-stop, writhing about and poking their surroundings, looking for an opening or an exit perhaps, with what was some hours ago their tongue, and I imagine still is, albeit reduced to a fine needle point, with which it had skewered the D-class we'd sent in to terminate him. It has swept up once or twice in my direction, poking at the ballistic glass, prodding with its point, but although it knows I'm here, I suspect that it understands that I am already afflicted, so it makes no hostile movements, only pausing to acknowledge me as kin, or perhaps as a lesser. I've only just begun this journey after all. It would seem that there is so much more in store. Again, I apologize for this distraction. The flow of words is beginning to become hard to command.
Damn.
Addendum. Took some time to make it through the site in my current state, but I have reached this security room and can see that there are many surviving personnel who have either remained silent or are exhibiting enough self-control during their first phase, so hopefully rescue efforts will be fruitful. Though, unfortunately, there are over a dozen personnel who have progressed to a physical frame and behavior reminiscent of Patient Zero. I would have to classify this as a distinct Phase 5. These individuals weave throughout the site, ensnaring others and maiming them in order to elicit an audible response and trigger the victim's next sequence. As victims are forced to progress even deeper, they begin to entwine with their captors, running along them like a vine once thin enough, where it snakes up to the front end of their captor, interlocking tongues. Pairings in this state, across the board, do not attempt to hunt any further, and will continue to lock tongues and babble down each other's throats as they seethe and distend, and I shouldn't want it, but they hold each other so tight I cannot imagine what it could be like to have someone who won't let you go while you both grow. It's making me warm just thinking of it.
This is I don't want to say names. I don't know if this is Yusuke Murata or whoever, but this is some Spiral type of stuff. Even though it's literally called Spiral. I don't know, it's like that episode where those two couples just intertwine together and then it turns out they're in the timeline now, and they're forever gonna be reborn. This feels like that. Like, just no. I guess it's lonely when you're in a situation where you're suffering like that. No. Couldn't be me though. Couldn't be me.
About it. Oh, this is new. The first pairing I noted. I could not begin to guess at who the assailant was, but it had captured junior researcher Milano. She'd tried to skirt by while it was prodding in the cafeteria, but she'd brushed its side and caught its attention. I've been working to bring their tail ends up to meet their mouths for the past 5 or so minutes. Though highly malleable, the hallway they're resting in is restrictive. As I've been typing, they've released one another's tongues, with each inserting theirs into the other's tail end, and now they're reorienting into a rough approximation of a lemniscate. Checking the audio feed of the sector has revealed to me that they are continuing to communicate as they pass through, or perhaps consume, each other. It is now impossible to tell one from the other as they writhe, and with the muffling of definite speech, impossible to hear them as more than a single voice. I know intrinsically that I would be rejected if I were to try and join them. They found what they were searching for ever in my belly, in my throat, and in yours too, but I need a match, and God, I don't want to be the odd man out, while everyone around me experiences bliss and infinity. With the loss of the D-Class to Patient Zero, that leaves an odd number of personnel in the lockdown quadrant, so I do have to act before I'm left without a partner for this next stage. Please, save us. I don't want this. But if I then maybe strict as well, which would be the go-to strategy to regain composure and avoid their fate. But my training can only take me so far, and I fear that there may be no way to reverse what has already been As such, I will need to use this clarity to send this missive outwards, ever-reaching, never-ending. A deep need, a realization of perfection and continuance. Few listen close enough, which tickles in unfamiliar places. So when you get here, start with them. They're going to be looking for a partner. I'll have one first. Won't be if you let them too close. Or maybe he will find me, in which case I would just love to let you in on the secret. I would like to give a special thank.
Oh. Usually I summarize these things that I learned. No. If you understood everything they said, cool, I understand as well. We don't need to rephrase everything that's been said. I don't want to rephrase nothing that's been said. My brain tickles right now. My brain just It's been Triple King with another video. Like and subscribe, please. Yeah, I need to be compensated with peace, yo. Nah.